Right, welcome to this Codex review for the new Codex supplement for Crimson Slaughter. I've seen it a few times on the channel. Tristan Whitehead takes Crimson Slaughter, Ben uses them as well, so there is some presence of them on the table. But we're going to review this Codex here, and I love the idea of Codex supplements. It just means if you're trying to work on a themed army, such as Crimson Slaughter, you get your own specific rules and entries, and it just means your army is quite unique and separated from the regular Codex, which I think is a great idea. So I'd always liked the colour scheme for Crimson Slaughter. They do look very nice indeed. We'll just sort of talk about the miniatures a little bit as well, and then we'll run through the rules inside this Codex supplement as well. So I've got mine from gamingfigures.com. They do Games Workshop stuff at 15% off. If your order comes to over £100, you get an extra 5% off on top of that, and then if you're in the UK, you get free postage if your order comes to over £40. So pretty good. It just means you can get your regular Games Workshop stuff, but you get a discount, a pretty good discount off the standard price. And it's not just Games Workshop stuff they do loads of different gaming systems and so on. You'll find all of that on the website as well. So, Crimson Slaughter. So this is, again, it seems to be the habit they have. Here's your colour palette here. So you've got your rotten brown colours here and skulls, and then you've got this rich sort of dried blood glowing kind of red, and then you've got your sort of grubby bronzy gold colour, and then a spot colour here like a blue, but not too much. Notice there's not much of it on the page, but just enough to lift. Just to add more interest into the colour scheme there. So Crimson Slaughter, that's really just a good summary of your colour scheme there. But you can imagine if I was painting these, nice sort of washes and really picking out the detail, and then just some nice glowing highlights with the red and the gold, and you could make the army make it look really, really nice. There's an idea of the miniatures you can get. So looking at these, I would say there are some units, and I'll point them out, that I really like the look of if I was to collect these, and then there's others that I would sort of stay away from. So for Chaos, I do find there's some units I don't really like the look of, you know, sculpt wise, and others that just look really good. I'd probably go for the unit visually, because I think visually for Chaos, I think it's so important that they carry that aura, that theme, that dread. And there's some of the new sculpts that have come out really do help convey that. So background story here again. So you can see there's that colour scheme again. I think I would go for that, especially if they're called Crimson Slaughter. Loads of background story here, you getting? Yeah, this is really for this fascinating stuff here. So you've got the Crimson Sabres, the original, before they were corrupted and then twisted and baroque here, it says here. They've then become Crimson Slaughter here, and you've got the possessed and you've got the cultists as well. It's just really, really fascinating here. Now the armor's got all warped and that. They're keeping the original sort of colour, and then it's bled into this design here. Fascinating stuff. More here. Fighting against Imperial Guard, terrorising them. One of the older illustrations there against the Dark Angels. Good opponent actually, fighting armies like the Dark Angels is a faction like this. Details of some of the campaigns. So much backstory here. Loads and loads in this codex. Almost halfway through it. So you get as much, it's a supplement, but you get just as much, I think, as a regular codex. Okay, so nice spread there. Yeah, I think this, everything you see in this picture is pretty much, I just think these new releases here, these Chaos Space Marines painted up for Crimson Slaughter, just look absolutely brilliant. They do look really, really nice. And there's some examples of them here as well. It's the Hellbrute here. Good. Terminators. There's the cultists there. So you're using these from the Dark Vengeance set. Very helpful set, very one that collects chaos. Do like these Forge Fiends, and they're so huge. And you've got the new Raptors that came out. They're nice enough as well. There's another Hellbrute there. That's really cool. So it's up to you. Leave it in the comment section. But for chaos, I really think that the regular Chaos Space Marines and the Chaos Terminators just desperately need to be updated. Yeah, the huge tusks and the spiky fence railings here just not sinister enough, I think. But what they have captured it well in the new sculpts that came out, the new miniatures that came out in the Dark Vengeance set. The sculpting is utterly amazing. I think they're slightly bigger, they have more of a presence, the sculpting on the theme of them, and just the design, the detail on all of the rims and the armour is just completely another level up from these regular. I think these have been out for a long time, and the Terminators. I mean, imagine the style of these and the quality of those redone if they then took that same quality and style and applied it and redid the Terminators. Those look utterly amazing. Yeah, regular Chaos Space Marines. I mean, they're okay, but compare them to these. These are fantastic. They really are good. Very, very nice indeed. So, onto the rules then. So, if you wish, you can say that any Chaos Space Marines detachment or formation is also Crimson Slaughter. Okay, nice flexibility there. Detachments and formations drawn from the Crimson Slaughter may use the Warlord traits and tactical objectives from these pages in addition to those in the Chaos Space Marines and the 40k rules. Crimson Slaughter detachments and formations also have special rules shown below. So you can adapt in your Chaos units, formations, detachments. All models in a Crimson Slaughter detachment or formation have fear. So that's the harbingers of the tormented. Then slaves to the voices. When choosing a Crimson Slaughter detachment or formation, units of possessed have the troops type instead of elite. So it's encouraging you to take them just to fit in with the theme of these. Furthermore, possessed units with a Crimson Slaughter detachment or formation do not have the Vessels of Chaos special rule from Chaos Space Marines. Instead, roll D3 on the table below at the beginning of each controlling player's turn. Mutation affects every possessed model in the unit and lasts until the start of the controlling player's next turn. You see the theme here, Crimson Slaughter, Chaos Space Marines, but then encouraging you to take possessed models here. So if you roll it, it's D3 for all one. Spirit Beacons. The unit and any vehicle they are embarked upon gains Shrouded. That's cool. Beast is random though. Beast form, the unit's type changes from infantry to beasts. Kind of weird. And then all incorporeal bodies, the units in run save is increased to 3+, and they gain rending. It's kind of good, not reliable though. You're trying to roll to get, maybe you really want this one, but there's only 1 in 3 chance you're going to get it, so bit of variety there, but you have no control over it, so could see that as a disadvantage. Renegades of the Dark Millennium. No units of a Crimson Slaughter detachment or formation can have the Veterans of the Long War special rule, except Khorne Berserkers, Plague Marines and Noise Marines. Then Relics. You can choose those relics there. We'll check out the point. It gives you the points, we'll go through them. Then your Warlord traits. So, rule of 1 is Murderous Hate. Your Warlord has Hatred special rule when attacking enemy units with the Dark Angels faction. Okay, so you can imagine you're playing against Dark Angels. Right, I'll go to this table here. Your Warlord and any unit he joins can reroll failed to hit rolls in every round of close combat, not just the first. That's if you're fighting Dark Angels. Maelstrom of Torment. Subtract 1 from the leadership of any enemy units within 12 of your Warlord. Subtract 2 when any of those units makes a fear test. Okay, easy one to forget that. And then Maddened Rage. The Warlord has Rage and Furious Charge. If the Warlord or his unit is within 12 of the enemy at the beginning of the shooting phase, he cannot shoot and must attempt to charge in the ensuing assault phase, if at all possible. Okay, not too bad that one. Merciless Slaughterer. Your Warlord has the Crusader special rule. These aren't too impressive. Then Spectral Assailants. Enemy models in base contact with the Warlord each take D6 strength 3 AP dash hits at the initiative step of 10 of each assault phase. So enemy models in base contact, D6 strength 3 AP hits. God, I mean that would be pretty weird. You know, you've got 5 models, each of them is going to take D6 strength 3 hits. That's weird. Pool of Mist, the Warlord has Shrouded. And if he's in that unit, he'll grant it to the whole unit, so some of those are okay, not them. It's alright. Not too impressive. Right, so say you're trying to build a Warlord here and you're looking perhaps to give him some of these unique Crimson Slaughter relics. We'll see how good any of these are. So first is Blade of the Relentless, Chaos Lord only. Strength for the user, AP 3, melee. It's 30 points. Soul Siphon. Make a note of how many models are removed as casualties as a direct result of the wielder's close combat attacks over the course of the battle. At the end of every assault phase, compare the current total to the following chart to see if any further effects are applied. So the more you kill, the better it gets. These effects cumulative last the rest of the game. So number of kills. If you kill 1, you get +1 strength. That's good. If you kill 3 or more, it goes to AP 2. If 5 or more, +1 strength again. And if you kill 10 or more, instant death. So you can imagine you could... That's really cool actually. That's good fun. So imagine you could kit him out to have as many attacks as possible, and then it wouldn't cost too much. Give him, instead of the power sword, you just give him Blade of the Relentless, and then you chuck him in against like Horde. Yeah, against Horde units or things that are easy to kill, and then let him rake up the kills. Say strength 4 goes up to strength 6, AP 2, instant death attacks. God, it's a nightmare. So you'd want to get him into combat early, but you could build a strategy around that weapon. Yeah, that one's cool. So I do like that idea. That is cool. Crozius of the Dark Covenant. Crozius of the Dark Covenant can only be taken by a Dark Apostle, and replaces the models Power Maul. +2 strength AP 4. Melee concussive. It's not much difference. 30 points. Warp medium. All friendly Crimson Slaughter units within 6 of the bearer have Zealot. Okay, so again, cluster a load of units together to go on a killing spree. It's all units within 6. You could have like 2 or 3 units all clustered together. They're all going to get Zealot whilst he's alive. Pretty good. Again, it's a nice theme that you could build a theme. You could take you know, a few units. I'm trying to think here. A couple of units together, going out on the attack, and then you have Dark Apostle in there with that, Chaos Lord with that, and then nicely enhanced that. Pretty good. Next one's Demon Heart. May not be taken by Demon Prince. Demon Heart confers a 2+ armor save and the It Will Not Die special roll. Cool. It's 30 points. Yeah, so you could take that as a good way to protect your Chaos Lord, for example. Prophet of the Voices, again 30 points. The bearer has Demon, Fearless, Fleet, and Slaves to the Voices special. You can only join units of Crimson Slaughter possessed. Roll once for the Slaves to the Voices special, applying the result to both the character and the unit. Okay. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Then Balestar of Menon, 25 points. Chaos Sorcerer only. The bearer of the Balestar of Menon can choose to generate powers from divination, discipline, and can reroll any unsuccessful dice when taking a psychic test. However, neither he nor any unit he has joined can benefit from any modifiers to deny the witch rolls. Okay, there's that option for Chaos Sorcerer. The Slaughterer's Horns. Ooh, this one's good. The bearer of the Slaughterer's Horns has Furious Charge, Hammer of Wrath, and Rage. Yep, I think I will go for that. That's only 15 points. Yeah, so imagine, you as I said, trying to kit him out to have as many attacks as possible. You're going to give him Furious Charge, Hammer of Wrath, and Rage. Yeah, pretty good. So these here, I think are quite cool. In developing a theme, I can imagine taking a good few of those, and unique ones as well. And this is why you're taking the supplement for Crimson Slaughterers to gain access to this unique stuff. So pretty good. It's nice upgrades here. Some relics, especially for sort of close combat themed army. Okay. Right. So formations. First one, then, the Ravagers. You have to take a unit of Chosen, unit of Possessed. Sight of the third eye. If the chosen champion from Dragnet's Ravagers is alive at the start of your turn, you can pick one of the units from the formation to benefit from his presence for the duration of your turn, and that unit can re-roll or fail to hit rolls. That's cool. So it's a small formation, and you get re-roll to hit. Take that. Nice. It's good. Disciples of Menon is next. Yeah, Ben's going to like this. Yeah. I think Ben will like this codex here, or this supplement. So then we've got Sorcerer and Unit of Possessed. The theme seems to be units of Possessed here, just to give you some enhancements if you're going to follow that theme. Signs and portents. At the start of the battle, roll 2 dice and put them to one side, representing prophecy granted to the Sorcerer. The first time during the battle that your opponent rolls exactly 2 dice, for example, we make a leadership test, a charge roll, a psychic test, using 2 warp charge points, a model firing an assault to weapon, whatever, and the result matches the 2 dice you put aside, the prophecy comes to pass and a unit of demons is immediately summoned within 18 inches of the sorcerer. Oh dear. As if it had just manifested a conjuration psychic power. Roll a d6 to determine what kind of unit is summoned. A 1 to 3, it's 10 pink horrors of Zench, 4 to 5 free screamers of Zench, 3 flamers of Zench, and 6 is a Lord of Change or a Herald of Zench. Oh, that's funny. There's small little formations here that seem to be. I mean, you could build an army entirely of formation books. Little formations, all with little bonuses. I think it's quite good fun. Prophecy comes true. Oh dear. Right, next one is Brethren of the Dark Covenant. 1 Dark Apostle. Quite a nice model actually. 1 unit of Possessed again. And the models. See, playing Brian a few times. He with his Night Lords, he's a fan of doing conversions. Like his Obliterators, for example, he's taken Space Marine Centurions and he's made them into Chaos Obliterators, and they just look fantastic. So if you're not too keen on the models that Games Workshop provide, you could see I'm not so keen on these. I'm just looking at them here. You could take maybe. I don't know, I'm not sure about his Possessed models. I'm sure there's some boxes. I mean, maybe leave it in the comment section. Conversions that you can do with these. I'm sure there's kits from the Warhammer Age of Sigmar sets that you could swap the arms and heads out for and do that kind of thing. It's just not so keen on the models here, which is a shame because they seem to, just look a bit corny is the word, I think, for them. And then 1 to 3 units of Chaos Space Marines. It can be a pretty small formation, or you can make it pretty big. Unbridled Wrath. At the start of your shooting phase, the Dark Apostle from the Brethren of the Dark Covenant can scream a litany of rage and bloodshed instead of shooting. If he does so, each other unit from the formation that is within 12 is filled with unholy zeal and gains zealot and feel no pain. Brilliant formation. Utterly superb formation. And you get all the units get within 12, which you're going to stick together, all get zealot, all get feel no pain. The value of that is superb. It's a brilliant formation set. Really, really good formations in this supplement book. Next, Cult of Slaughter. 1 Dark Apostle, and then 2 to 8 units of cultists. Again, you can have quite a small formation, or up to 8 units of cultists. You can have it utterly huge. The desperate and the depraved. Units of chaos cultists from the cults of slaughter have a leadership value of 10, whilst they're in 9 of the Dark Apostle. Really good. Frenzied horde. The cults of slaughter follow their Dark Apostle unquestioningly, stragglers seizing up fallen weapons, even as mortally wounded warriors drag themselves to their feet to continue fighting. At the start of each of your movement phases, roll a dice for each unit of chaos cultists in the cults of slaughter that is within 18 of the Dark Apostle. That many slain models are returned. Each must be set up within unit coherency, and not within 1 inch of any models. Any models that cannot be returned are lost. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. These formations. These are about the best set of formations I think I've seen in a codex or a codex supplement for a long, long time. Next one. There's loads of them. Lords of Slaughter is next. 1 Chaos Lord, 1 unit of Possessed, 1 unit of Chaos Terminators, and then 1 to 3 units of Chaos Space Marines. Whispered Portents. The Chaos Lord, I mean, what a theme. What a theme you could have. Flood the table with cultists and then just regenerate them. That is a powerful, incredible. Whispered Portents. The Chaos Lord from the Lords of Slaughter has the Psyker. Good, alright. He always knows the Prescience power from the Divination Discipline. He can target any unit from the Lords of Slaughter regardless of range when attempting to manifest this power. So you make your Lord a Psyker. And then you can use this superb model from the Dark Vengeance set. Yeah. I mean, the Chaos Terminators are okay. Probably what I would do, I'm just looking at them here. I'll tell you what, right, I'd have a look at Forge World, have a look at their shoulder pads and heads, I'm sure they do them, and I would drop the spikes from off their backs. Yeah, and I think that would pretty much solve that. Just the spikes don't. No. Yeah, I think that would solve it pretty good. Maybe some heads and shoulder pads from Forge World, perhaps. Possibly. Yeah, or another option you could go for. Chaos, you have this kind of dirty, pitted, scraped kind of look. You would maybe take a modelling knife and a pin, a heated pin, and start putting some bullet holes and some scratches all over the armour. That might give them more of a battered, tatty kind of look. You don't want them looking crisp, factory clean. Yeah, maybe like it. And you could stipple the paint on, like stab the paint to make it that kind of splattered blood kind of look. Yeah, like a more of a grubby kind of look to them. I think would help. There's more formations here. Unbelievable. So Crenon's Hellguard, this is bigger now. 1 Chaos Lord, 1 unit Chosen, 1 unit Chaos Terminators, 2 units of Chaos Cultists, a unit of Raptors, a Land Raider and a Hellbrute. They all gain Stubborn. Nice. Swarm of Phantasms. Enemy units within 12 of at least 1 unit from this formation subtract 1 from their leadership. Okay, enemy units within 12 of at least 2 units from this formation subtract 1 from their ballistic skill to a minimum of 1. Okay. It may be difficult, well not difficult, but maybe one you could easily forget in the middle of a game, but not bad. Not bad. I think some of the smaller nifty formations here, you know, fulfilling a number of those in army might be quite cool. The Red Onslaught is next. Oh right, okay, this is a formation within a formation. If you take the formations, the Ravagers, the Disciples of Men, and the Brethren of the Dark Covenant, the Cult of Slaughter, the Lords of Slaughter, Crenon's Hellguard, there's loads of stuff. You get the Maddening Horde. Or at least 1 unit from this formation is on the battlefield, subtract 1 from the leadership of all units in the enemy army. Okay. It's quite significant. It's easy to remember as well. Then Demonic Resurge. At the start of each of your turns, roll a dice. On a 4 or more, each unit possessed from the Red Onslaught that has been completely destroyed is placed into ongoing reserve. When these units arrive, they do so using Deep Strike, regardless of any formation they're previously part of. These units do not benefit from any formation special rules, however they can still be summoned back to the battlefield using this rule. So, pretty good. See, the emphasis though is units are possessed just throughout this, and then it climaxes in that formation there. But very, very impressed with these formations. Very, very good indeed. So, not only do you get all of that, they've actually put some unique missions in here, which is nice. It fits in, helps to fit in with the theme of the army, and I'm a big fan of varieties of missions. So, this is great. Crimson Slaughter, Altar of War. So, just describing how you can use them now. We'll just get into these. There's 3 by the looks of it. Oh, then there's Echoes of War as well. Oh, right, okay, so it's 3 of each. So, Altar of War, first one's called Storm of Spirits. So, battlefields, objective markers. After setting up terrain, players alternate setting objective markers anywhere in their own half of the table, starting the Crimson Slaughter player until 6 have been set up. So 6 objective markers. No objective marker can be placed within 6 of any battlefield edge or 12 inches of another objective marker. Okay, there's your deployment zone, Storm of War, Crimson Slaughter, enemy, and then Spectral Hurricane marker in the middle. Deployment, it's just the usual, first turn. He has the first turn, unless the opponent concedes initiative. Variable game length. Victory conditions. At the end of the game, the player who has scored the most victory points wins the game. If the players have the same number of victory points, it's a draw. Each objective marker is worth 3 points. Oh. First Blood, Line Breaker, Slay the Warlord. Mysterious objectives, Night Fighting Reserves, all the usual. Interesting though, each objective is worth 3 points. And there's up to 6 of them on the table. Then Spectral Hurricane. After deployment, but before either player has taken the first turn, place a Spectral Hurricane marker, a coin will do, in the centre of the battlefield. So you can make something perhaps for it. At the beginning of each of the Crimson Slaughter players' turn, roll 2d6. The Crimson Slaughter player can move the Hurricane marker in any direction up to the distance rolled in inches. Weird. After this move has been made, any non-Crimson Slaughter units within 12 immediately suffer 2d6 strength AP3 dash hits. Count the direction of the attack as originating from the Spectral Hurricane marker. Cool. But to do that, you'd have to make a counter swirling sculpture of some kind. You really would. Definitely would. You know, if I was collecting Crimson Slaughter, had an army, I'd make the marker for that. And then it gives you incentive to play the scenario. Good fun. That's good fun. That one. It's good fun. Anything that's, let's say bizarre, but anything different from the normal. It's good fun, yeah. Next one, Silence the Voices. We played this in one of the Challenger Scorpion games, and it was good. It was great fun. Deployment. Crimson Slaughter player deploys first. You divide the units. First turn, Crimson Slaughter goes first, unless you seize initiative. Variable game length. There's your deployment. Enemy deployment here is Imperial Fists actually fighting against them, and then Tristan split his army up and attacked from all directions. It was great fun, really good fun. At the end of any game turn, the enemy player has no models on the battlefield. The Crimson Slaughter player wins. Right, it's a proper slaughter. If the game ends before this condition has been met, the enemy player wins. You have to wipe them out. Yeah, it was a tough one, this one, for the Crimson Slaughter player. Get Night Fighting and reserves. Right, 8-pointed attack. The Crimson Slaughter player must divide their units as equally as possible between the 8 deployment zones. Yeah. Distribute any odd units as evenly as possible, with the exception of flyers. No Crimson Slaughter units can be held back in reserve. Right. Okay. Fight to the last man. Enemy. Every non-vehicle unit in the enemy army has stubborn. Lines of retreat. Any Crimson Slaughter unit that falls back does so towards the nearest table edge. Any enemy units that fall back must do so towards the centre of the board, where they will remain until they regroup or are slaughtered. Voices becalmed. All Crimson Slaughter units have hatred and furious charge until the first enemy non-vehicle unit has been destroyed. Yeah, it's difficult. There wasn't too many advantages for the Crimson Slaughter player. I think we noticed in that one. Because it's a tough objective to wipe out the opponent is tough. That is tough to do that. Yeah, but was a good fun game, and a very strong theme to be surrounded and attacked. Really, really good fun. Right, next one here, securing a legacy. Just the armies, battlefield. It's Dawn of War again. Deployment. Use the deployment map indicated with this mission. The enemy player can place any number of fortifications anywhere within their deployment zone. They do not pay any points for these fortifications, and none start the game dilapidated. Set up a remaining terrain as described in 40k the rules. Objective markers. After setting up terrain, the enemy player places 3 objective markers anywhere within their deployment zone. No objective marker will be placed within 6 of any battlefield edge or 12 inches of another objective marker. So 1, 2, 3. Deployment. Both players roll to determine their warlord traits. Then the enemy player deploys first, placing all of their units in the deployment zone. The Crimson Slaughter player then deploys their units anywhere in their deployment zone. First turn. He has the first turn unless the enemy seizes the initiative. Variable game length. At the end of the game, the player who scored the most victory points wins. If players have the same number, it's a draw. At the end of the game, each objective marker is worth 3 points. And first battle line breaker, slay the warlord. Mysterious objectives, not fighting reserves. So it says dash across to capture those 3-point objectives, 3 of them. Fight for survival. Each time a non-vehicle unit in a friendly Crimson Slaughter unit detached on formation is completely destroyed, with the exception of unique characters, remove it from play and place it into on-game reserves. Cool. Where it will be available to return to the battle at the start of the Crimson Slaughter player next turn. These units enter play from any point along the Crimson Slaughter table edge as depicted on the map. So things like raptors would be cool, you know, where they can come back on. No, they have to come on from the table edge. So difficult, that one, because units that start right at the back or walk on have got a fair walk to go. So things like bikers would be handy. Non-vehicle unit, yeah. But again, good one. A nice set for that flow of fresh units coming on. Good fun. Okay, so then you've got Echoes of War here. So this is specifically if you're fighting against Dark Angels. It's a 9-inch in deployment zone, restricted. No deployment zone here, just the extraction table edge. Again, looking interesting, this one. The battle took place amongst the narrow streets and ruins of this planet's capital city. To represent this, you should use as many ruins and dilapidated fortifications representing overrun defence outposts as possible. So you fill the table up with terrain. Deployment. Players should first roll for warlord traits and then deploy their armies as described in the rulebook. The enemy player deploys first, setting up all their non-fly units from their primary detachment in the Dark Angels deployment zone. I mean, you could just, I'm sure you could customise it just to use any army as an opponent, but it's really, it's themed. The theme is for Dark Angels. The rest of their army starts from reserve. When the enemy player deploys, they must nominate one of their infantry or bike models on the battlefield and declare that it's carrying the body of the fallen. Then the Crimson Slaughter player deploys, and again you could sculpt or paint something specific for this. Then the Crimson Slaughter player deploys their entire army, setting up each of their units anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches from the enemy. 9 inches? Can't be 9 inches. I don't know. First turn. The Crimson Slaughter player has the first turn. Anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches from the enemy. Okay. We'll keep reading here. At the end of the game, the player who has scored the most victory points wins. It's a draw. Okay, it's a draw. At the end of the game, each player receives 1 victory point for each opposing unit that's been completely destroyed. Units that are falling back at the end of the game, units that are not on the board at the end of the game are destroyed. Count as destroyed. Secondary objective, slay the Warlord. If the enemy player extracts the model carrying the body of the fallen, then they receive D3 victory points. If the model carrying the body of the fallen is removed as a casualty, then the Crimson Slaughter player receives D3 victory points. If the model carrying the body of the fallen is not slain, it is not extracted, then neither player receives. So you have to extract the body of the fallen. Mission Special Rules, Reserves. Extraction. Any model from the enemy army that starts its movement phase within 6 of the extraction table edge can be extracted to remove the model from play. It may not be returned to the battlefield. Any model that starts its movement phase within 6. Okay. Body of the Fallen. The enemy player picks one model to be carrying the Body of the Fallen during deployment, as described above. The body does not impede the model carrying in any way, but the fate of the bearer will affect how many victory points are scored for achieving secondary objectives. Surrounded on 3 sides, Crimson Slaughter reserves can enter the battle from any point on any of the table edges apart from the extraction table edge. Enemy reserves enter the battlefield from any point on the extraction table edge. Oh. Weird. Crimson Slaughter units must always fall back towards the closest table edge that is not to the extraction table edge. Enemy units must fall back. So you've got deployment here, then within 9 the enemy can deploy, which is kind of weird. It's so close. There's more than 9 inches from the enemy, yeah. And then Dark Angel, they're heading off this direction. You've got to get the Body of the Fallen off to get within 6 inches of the table edge and take them off. You get the D3 points. And then your reserves come on to meet you in that direction. Very heavy theme to that one. Confrontation with angels. Okay, next one, a new redemption. And again, you're fighting Dark Angels here. Again, especially you've got a friend, it collects Dark Angels, you've got Crimson Slaughter. This book is just perfect for that. I can imagine you have a lot of fun with these. Okay. Designers note this is a Planetstrike mission. You'll need a copy of Sanctus Reach, the Red Wire, or Warhammer 40,000 Planetstrike to play it. The armies, the battlefield. The Dark Angels player can place any number of fortifications anywhere on the table, paying no points to do so. They do not start the game dilapidated. All buildings start the game claimed by the Dark Angels player. Once all formations have been placed, the Dark Angels player sets up any other terrain as they choose. Alright, so control the battlefield here. Objective markers. After setting up the terrain, Dark Angels player places 6 objective markers. Deployment. The players first determine their Warlord traits and stratagems. Each player has 3 stratagem points. The Crimson Slaughter player selects any one table edge to be theirs. Okay. Dark Angel player table edge is the one opposite. Dark Angels player deploys first, placing each of their units anywhere on the battlefield. All of the Crimson Slaughter players' units begin the game in reserve. Okay. Crimson Slaughter player takes the first turn. Variable game length. At the end of the game, the player who scored the most victory points wins. It's a draw. So, at the end of the game, each victory objective marker is worth 3 victory points. So one that controls it. First Blood and Slay the Warlord. Then you've got Firestorm, Night Fighting, Planetary Assault, Reserves, Scramble, Shock, Tactics. So some of those are coming back from going back to those publications there. We'll just read out the unique ones that you get with this scenario. So Ice World. Roll d6 at the start of each player turn. On a roll of 1, an Ice Shard Blizzard sweeps the snow-covered battlefield. The following rules apply. First, the players roll a d6 for each assuming Flyer or Swooping Monstrous Creature on the table. On a 1, the model crashes. Assuming Flyer will crash and burn. A Swooping Flying Monstrous Creature is grounded. A roll of a 2 or more, they are forced to flee before the storm and are immediately placed in ongoing reserves. Whoa! Next, the players must roll off. The winner must unleash an Ice Shard Hurricane as described below. Carry on with the rest of the turn as normal, however the maximum distance of any line of sight is 12 inches. Whoa! So there's a 1 in 6 chance. You can play 5, 6, 7 turns. It's going to happen on a turn, probably. Maybe happen 2 or 3 times in the game. Ice Shard Hurricane. As noted above, if a blizzard sweeps the table, the winner of the roll-off must unleash an Ice Shard Hurricane upon the battlefield. To do so, they will need 5 Ice Shard Hurricane markers. These are represented by squares of thin paper 1 inch across. Again, if you wanted to, you can make some nice props, some easy ones for that. The winner of the roll-off takes 4 of the markers, 2 in each hand. The opposing player takes the remaining 5th marker. Players must then position their hands with the markers so that they are anywhere above the battlefield and about 36 from the surface. Then on the count of 3, they simultaneously drop the markers so that they flutter down to the... Alright, so these are going to need to be made of paper. To the table below. Any unit within 6 of the marker's final landing point suffers D6 strength 5 AP 5 hits with pinning. Markers are then removed. Markers that miss the table have no effect. Oh dear, I don't think I've ever read a scenario like it. People would think you're mad, your local gaming club. But this is official Games Workshop publication here. Again, interesting though. Next one, the hunt for Zaxlantar. So the armies, the enemy must choose a primary detachment of the Chaos Demons faction. You must include a Lord of Change as their rule representing Zaxlantar. Deployment, Dawn of War here, just the usual. But this is a showdown between Crimson Slaughter and Chaos Demons. Weird. Before any models are deployed, the Crimson Slaughter player should roll to determine their Warlord trait. The enemy player does not roll for their Warlord trait. Zaxlantar automatically has the Lord of Unreality Warlord trait. It's in the Codex Chaos Demons book. The Crimson Slaughter player deploys first, placing all of their units in the deployment zone depicted on the map. The enemy player then deploys their units anywhere on their deployment zone. Crimson Slaughter player goes first, unless you can see his initiative. Variable game length. Whoever has the most victory points wins. At the end of the game, each player receives 1 victory point for each enemy unit that's been completely destroyed. Units that are falling back and units that are not on the board count as destroyed for these purposes. First blood Linebreaker slay the Warlord. With a star here, in this mission, the slay the Warlord secondary objective is worth 3 victory points to the Crimson Slaughter player. Cool. Night Fighting Reserves. Right, score to settle. Cranon the Relentless has the Hatred. Zaxlantar. Okay, you're out to get this guy. Then Warp Storm Tornadoes. At the beginning of each game turn, the enemy player must roll a d3. The number rolled is the total number of Warp Storm Tornadoes that touch down this turn. Sound nasty. Starting with the enemy player, both players take it in turns to place a large blast marker on for each tornado anywhere on the battlefield. Roll for scatter before determining the final position of the Warp Storm Tornado marker. Each unit, friend or foe, suffers 1 hit for each enemy model fully or partially beneath the Warp Storm Tornado marker with the following profile. Strength 2d6, it's going to be between strength 2 and 10, I suppose it maxes out at. Don't get strength told at me. AP is d6, that's dangerous. Large blast and barrage. You're going to get units being slaughtered by this. Roll to determine the strength and AP value after its final position has been established. So expect to start losing units all over the place. What a real messy scenario that one is. Another weird one, but nicely themed though to match with this codex. So that's your missions. Oh, Echoes of War, here's another one. And another. Oh, yeah, a lot here. So, Regalis Under Siege. So you're now fighting Imperial Guard. Okay, an Imperial Fortress. So, choose armies described in 40k rules. The Crimson Slaughter player must choose a Crimson Slaughter detachment or formation to be the primary detachment. The enemy player must choose a primary detachment Astra Militarum. Okay, so it's an Imperial Guard showdown. The enemy player can place a wall of Martyrs Imperial Defence Network, Stronghold, C40k Stronghold Assault, anywhere within the deployment zone. They do not pay any points. Okay. As usual, it's Vanguard. Strike here. And then, after setting up the terrain, enemy player places 3 objective markers anywhere in their deployment zone. Both players roll to determine their Warlord traits. Then, the Crimson Slaughter player deploys first, placing all of the units in the deployment zone. The enemy player then deploys. Crimson Slaughter player goes first, unless you can see his initiative, variable game length. At the end of the game, whoever scores the most points wins. At the end of the game, each objective marker is worth 3 victory points. So you're just trying to smash your way in to the Imperial Guard deployment zone. First Bloodline Breaker, slay the Warlord, mysterious objectives, night fighting reserves. Wave of Terror. Once during the game, at the beginning of one of their turns, the Crimson Slaughter player can send forth a wave of howling spirits. All enemy units within 18 of the Crimson Slaughter model must pass a morale check or fall back. Okay. Can easily forget that, but it's unique for the scenario. And then Cannon Fodder. Each time a unit of Chaos Cultists is completely destroyed, remove it from play and place it in on-game reserves. Imagine combining that with that formation where you get D6 number back per unit, and then the units that are wiped out, you get them back anyway. See, really good theme. Imagine the Imperial Guard battle line, tons of cultists being mowed down, and they just keep coming back and advancing. Where it would be available to return at the start of the Crimson Slaughter next turn. These units enter play from any point along either Crimson Slaughter table edge as depicted on the map. So it's only a matter of time. You can't stop them. They keep coming back. You just got to hold them for as long as you can. Another good scenario there. A well-turned Crimson is next. Crimson Slaughter deployment zone in the centre there. 12 inches. There's a 24-inch diameter in total. So the army's Crimson Slaughter player must choose a Crimson Slaughter detachment to be their primary detachment or formation. The Crimson Slaughter must choose the enemy player must choose a primary detachment with the Astrum at the time. So it's again taken on Imperial Guard. The battlefield deployment map included in this mission. To represent the shattered hive city, you should use as many ruins and dilapidated fortifications as possible. Before models are deployed, both players must roll to determine their Warlord traits. The Crimson player deploys first, and then the enemy player does not deploy. All of their units begin the game in reserve. The first turn. The enemy player goes first unless the Crimson Slaughter player concedes the initiative, whether you'd want to, because there's no enemy units on the table. The mission uses the variable game length. At the end of the game, whoever scores the most points wins. Primary objective. At the end of the game, each player receives 1 victory point for each enemy unit that's been completely destroyed. Units that are falling back and are off table are counted for these purposes. The Crimson Slaughter player can also earn additional victory points for clearing out buildings. Leave none alive special rule. At the end of the game, the Crimson Slaughter player receives 1 victory point for each building that has been cleared. So, right, so they're all fanning out and cleansing buildings. Imperial Guard have just got to try and spread themselves out and man as many buildings as they can. Again, another scenario encouraging you to go into a nice narrative theme. First blood, so the Warlord night fighting reserves. Leave none alive. If a Crimson Slaughter unit with the Walker or Infantry unit type moves into a ruin or building and does not run or shoot, in the shooting phase, that ruin or building will become cleared. Place a suitable marker as a reminder that it has been cleared. Lines of retreat. Any Crimson Slaughter units that fall back do so towards the nearest table edge. Scattered forces. At the start of the first turn, the enemy player makes reserve rolls to see if their units held in reserve arrive, exactly as if they were at the start of their second turn. If by the time the enemy player rolls to see if the last of their units in reserves arrive, none of their units have done so, do not make a reserves roll, they arrive automatically. The enemy player's units enter play from any point along the table edge. So Imperial Guard are moving in, trying to occupy buildings, and then fanning out with the Crimson Fists to clear the buildings. Stop the massacre. All enemy units have Zealot. They're trying to stop this Crimson expansion here. Good stuff. And then a nice lineup of all the models, as I said. Not so keen on regular Marines. Vehicles are okay. Do like the Fiend, the Mauler Fiends, Forge Fiends, and specifically the models from the Dark Vengeance set. Cultists, very, very nice indeed. And then would maybe do some conversion work on things like the Possessed and the Terminators. Make them look cool. And those formations, do like them. So you get Crimson Slaughter tactical objectives at the back as well. There it is. Collecting Crimson Slaughter, great fun book by the looks of it. Really nice formations there. Some brilliant formations. Some good fun ones. Really nice scenarios as well. They look very good indeed as well. So there it is, Crimson Slaughter Codex Supplement. Got mine from gamingfigures.com. They do Games Workshop 15% off. And then another 5% off if your order comes to over £100, and then free postage if your order is over £40 as well. There it is. Leave your thoughts and feedback in the comments section. I think it's a great supplement here for Crimson Slaughter players to enjoy, and we'll maybe see it being used on the channel with Ben. He does have Crimson Slaughter Chaos Space Marines. There it is. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time.